Katie Proctor. I am a casting director in New York City for a production company called RWS Entertainment Group. RWS it's first of all, it's an amazing company, but it works a little differently in the industry of entertainment than most other companies. So most people that you will meet, especially at CMTC, will be an independent agent or casting director or manager or model scout or something of that nature. And so they hold a very specific place in the industry and what they do. So I am a casting director, and I'll explain kind of what that means and how it plays in the industry. But I am what we call in-house casting for RWS. So what does that mean? So usually a casting director is employed by a casting office. They are hired by a producer to cast a project or projects. And then that's all they do is they run the actual auditions and do the casting, and that's it. For me, I work for the producer. So RWS Entertainment Group actually is a production company. So I cast for projects done by RWS. And I'll talk a little bit more about that too. But RWS, like I said, it's in New York City. It actually employs about 110 full-time staff. The casting office is only 4 people, to give you kind of a scope of the actual size of RWS as a company. So we are hired by clients to do everything from show concept and creation to writing and directing to doing the choreography, both creating it and teaching it, running rehearsals, paying the cast, doing social media, all of that, and casting and wardrobe and scenic and everything. So we work with everyone from theme parks to cruise ships to we do industrials and corporate events. We work for clients like Prada, Vera Wang, Macy's, Teen Vogue, giving them anything from a flash mob to a gala to anything that would require entertainment for any reason. And usually what we do, we call corporate entertainment because it's based around a brand or a client as opposed to a show, as you might typically think of it. It's also typically non-ticketed, and we're trying to do what we call leave people with an emotional souvenir. So what that means is if you think about a theme park or a cruise ship or a gala, typically the people who are going haven't bought a ticket to the show. They bought a ticket to the park for the day, or they're cruising on the ship, or they bought a ticket to the gala, or what have you. And the entertainment is a piece of what they're experiencing, but we want it to be that when those people leave, what they're thinking about and what moved them and what makes them want to go back and do it again is the show that they saw or the entertainment that they experienced. And we call that an emotional souvenir. So that's the majority of what we do at RWS. So when I'm casting, when I'm going to things like CMTC, I'm not necessarily looking to cast a specific show or a specific role. What I like to do is called hoarding talent. And what that means is that I find people who I think are amazing, whose talent is incredible, who kind of fit in my world. And then I bring them back to New York and put them in a binder and hold on to that talent for up to a year because who knows where you might fall in all of the things I'm casting. Sometimes I know 6 months ahead of time what I'm casting. Sometimes I've given a casting request and have to have it cast within a week and can't hold auditions, but just have to know from my files who would be right for things. So that's what I do. That's how RWS functions, and that's what it means to be in-house casting. Now, in-house casting is kind of rare. You find it with cruise ships, you find it with theme parks, you find it, you know, in that kind of world. But usually what you're finding when you're meeting a casting director is you're meeting someone who is going to be casting lots of projects, either on Broadway or, you know, for a television network or something of that nature. So maybe they're casting very specific projects. Again, maybe they're looking for their files for, you know, any number of things that they're casting, but they don't usually work for the producer. Usually it's just their job to find talent, whatever they think that means, of any kind, any nature, and then it's their job to piece things together. So here's kind of the job of a casting director in a nutshell. Again, not really me per se, but casting directors in general. For instance, at RWS Entertainment Group, we own a casting office called Binder Casting. They're under the RWS umbrella, meaning that we share a giant casting suite all together. We all work in one office, but they keep their projects separate from the actual projects being cast at RWS. They cast for Broadway, for national tours, and for commercials. One of their clients is the Lion King worldwide. So when I go to CMTC, it's actually the one chance I get to look for kids, because I help them look for young Nala and young Simba, and I have actually found them in the past, a young Simba. So, you know, you never know. That's really fun and exciting. But so here's a prime example of how a casting director works. So Binder is hired by Disney. Okay, Disney is the production company. So Disney says, you know, we need to hold these auditions and we're looking for a young Simba. So it's then Binder's job to scout for anyone they think might be right for young Simba, to have, you know, files full of people that could potentially work. They then have to set up the auditions, run the auditions, decide who gets the callbacks, work with the actors during the callback on the material, decide who gets to be put in front of Disney, and then put the final group in front of Disney, and then Disney decides who gets the job and makes the offer and contracts and does all of that. So the casting director's job is to really know the talent, find the talent, know their client, know what their client wants and is looking for, set up the audition, run the audition, and run the callback. Okay, so that's kind of how a casting director works. Aside from amazing events like CMTC, how does a casting director find talent, right? Like, they're out there, how do you find them? Here's where agents and managers come into play, okay? Now, agents and managers and casting directors, I like to say, play in the same sandbox. So they work together, they live in the same world, but what their jobs, their actual jobs are different, okay? But they kind of work hand in hand. So let's go over to the agent and manager side for a second, okay? Because at CMTC, you'll also meet, you might eat as well, but you'll meet managers and casting directors, right? Okay, so let's start with the agent, okay? The agent, their job primarily is to find what they call a roster of talent, okay? So unlike a casting director where it's like, yeah, we just find talent and whoever we think is talented and we put them in a binder and, you know, pull them out when something amazing comes along we think that they're right for. Agents have what they call a roster of talent. And that means that they have a specific number of people in their files who they represent. And every agency, every management office is different in its size. So some are very small, some are what we call boutique, meaning that they tend to be on the smaller side. And then some are much larger, and there's no rhyme or reason to why. It's just however large the actual company is. Okay, so the agent's job is to hold on to a roster of talent. It is their job to know every single person in their roster of talent, what they do, what they're skilled at, what they're right for, and then it's their job to send them out on auditions. Okay, now I'm going to get to that in a second, but I will also say that agents and managers do not get paid until you are paid. Okay, they basically work for free until you book something. Now, once you book something, an agent will get 10% of each paycheck, okay? Because in theory, they've been working for free and they're not getting paid until you get paid, okay? So an agent's job is to send you out on auditions to help you get through the door, basically. And then once you book the job, yay, hooray, to help you negotiate the contract, okay? And we're gonna get in a second to how they find the audition. A manager, their roster is probably smaller because if you think about the word management, they're in essence helping you manage your career, okay? So yes, they're helping you find auditions and get you through the door and help you negotiate the contract and all of that. But in theory, they are also helping you get the best headshots. They're making sure you're in the right acting classes. They're helping you network. They're doing a lot more to actually manage your career in addition to just getting you an audition and getting you through the door. So a manager could take 15% of your paycheck after you book something. But again, in theory, they haven't been paid anything up until you book it, right? And they've done a lot more to help you book it, okay? Those are kind of the differences, main differences between an agent and a manager. Now, like I said earlier, agents and managers and casting directors work together, right? But how do they work together? Because agents and managers are over here with their roster of talent and casting directors are over here needing that talent. How do they meet, right? Okay, so casting directors, part of their job is to put out what we call a breakdown, okay? Now, a breakdown is what a casting director puts out when they are needing to cast something. So let's go back to our friends at the Lion King, right? So let's say that Binder Casting is holding an audition for young Simba and young Nala in the Lion King. Broadway, let's say. They do it all over the world, but let's say they're looking specifically for the Broadway company. It would have where the contract is, if you have to be union status, what the union is, how much it pays. It has the dates of rehearsal and of performance. And it has a breakdown, again, that word, breakdown of characters they're looking for, specifics of that character. So maybe, has to be spunky and funny and, whatever. Also, if there's a certain height, because both young Simba and young Nala have to be a certain height. They also have to be a certain age. So they'll put out what age you have to be, what height you have to be. All of that will be in the breakdown. Also in the breakdown will be what they are asking to hear at the audition, okay? So let's say it's an open call, meaning anyone can show up, okay? If it's an open call and a breakdown, they will say, please prepare whatever song or whatever type of song or whatever material, right? If it's an agent or a manager getting the appointment, they will probably be sent a packet of material. Okay, it's probably not asking for a specific song, but if it's an open call, the breakdown will put what they want to hear or what they want to see. Okay, but an agent or a manager will look at this and go, great, I have 15 kids on my roster who I think are perfect for this job. I have 7 Simbas and 8 Nalas. I think that equals 15. Not the best at math. So that agent will put together their headshots and resumes and links and video and all the things that they have for their talent, which is why it's so important to make sure things like headshots and resumes and photos are at your best, is because this is what your agent and manager will use to submit you, right? So the agent will send over these 15 kids to the casting director. I don't cast the Lion King, okay, but let's say it was me. Great, hooray, I'm getting these 15 submissions from this agent. Cool. I want to see 2 of the boys they sent for Nala and for Simba, and 3 of the girls they sent for Nala. Great. I then replied back to the agent and I say, great, here are the people I want to see. Here are the time slots I'm giving them, because I literally schedule the appointments. And here is the packet of material I want them to prepare. Okay. That then gets sent back to the agent. The agent then sends that to their client and says, yay, hooray, you got the audition. Here's the material you need to prepare. And then it's up to their client, that actor, right, to prepare all of that material and go in for the audition. So now we have that the casting director has put out the breakdown. The agent and manager have seen it. They've decided who in their roster, right, they think is right for it. They've sent it back to the casting director. Casting director decides who they wants to see, sends it back to the agent and manager. Agent and manager send it to their client. Client comes in for the audition. Casting director holds the audition, decides who gets a call back, lets the agent know, schedules it. Actor comes back in. Actor books it. Hooray! Casting director then calls agent or manager and says, your client booked it. Hooray! Disney will be in touch with you regarding the contract. And then hands it over to the producer for the casting director to start all over again on whatever the next project is. So that is kind of how agents and casting directors and managers all work together. We all need different things. We're all looking for slightly different things for whatever reasons, because we all have our own projects and our own things we work on. We all have our own eye and what we get excited about when it comes to talent. But remember that, yes, it's about acting, and yes, it's about your talent and all of that, but it's also about you. Because at the end of the day, we need to be excited about you, whether it's the casting director who wants to book you on a job, or the agent or manager who wants to be sending you out on auditions, right? They want to be excited about you. Yeah, they want to be excited about your talent, but look at how much you two are going to be talking, right? Or if you're a parent watching this, think about how much you're going to need to be talking to that agent or that manager, right? They're going to want to have a good, healthy relationship with you so that they get excited to talk to you. So that they go, oh yes, I get to call this person and send them out on an audition. So having that good relationship, I think so much of the time in this industry, we talk about it's, who you know, but think about it this way. If you were working on something, on a project, and you could pick the 5 people you wanted to work with because you got excited about being in a room with them, right? You probably wouldn't put out an ad saying, I need help with this, whatever. You would just say, oh, I have these 5 amazing people. I love to work with them. I'm just going to bring them in. That's kind of what we mean by it's who you know. It's about being a pleasure to work with. It's about being that person that I get excited to call, or I hear is going to be on a project and I'm like, yes, I can't wait for them to be in rehearsals because it's someone that we want to work with. So I love CMTC. I think that the talent that is found and is brought is top level, is so exciting. I find that the performers who come through are hungry to learn, who are excited about this industry. I think that the people I get most excited about working with in general are what I call smart actors. And I don't necessarily mean book smart, but I mean, are they studying this industry? Do they know what's being filmed? Do they, do they love musicals? Are they listening to musical theater? I'm a nerd. I still educate myself. I'm challenging myself to listen to a musical a day that I don't know. It's amazing that there's still musicals I don't know, but I'm still finding them. So, it's the people who want to do this because they love acting. They love being in a rehearsal. They love being in front of the camera. And I find that a lot of the talent that comes through CMTC is so excited to be there, is hungry to learn about this industry. It's not just about becoming becoming an overnight superstar. It's about the fact that they want to be involved in this industry. And I think this industry is the most exciting industry to be involved in. It's the people who are looking at this and going, yeah, what's next? What's coming next? How is this going to grow? That's who I tend to find at CMTC and who I get excited about. And it's a place where you can grow and you can meet other people, your age, who are doing this, who want to be involved, who you can cheer each other on and root each other on. I don't think there's anything more exciting than that. I know that I personally look for 18 and over is who I employ. And again, I cast for cruise ships and theme parks. So mostly I'm looking for singers and dancers, is the majority of who I look for. With the cruise ships, since they are in international waters, they are non-jurisdictional, meaning that it's a-okay that you're Canadian, because you don't have to be a United States citizen to work on one of our cruise ships. We literally do a worldwide audition tour, going everywhere from all around the United States to Toronto, to Australia, to all around Europe. I've been as far as Russia. So, we're just looking for exciting new talent who we're not finding necessarily in other places. So I love that. I also have the honor of being able to help Binder Casting look for young Simbas and young Nalas. So I don't look for kids, except that I keep an eye out for young Simbas and young Nalas for The Lion King. So there is that as well. I think that when you're thinking about your callbacks at CMTC, remember that we are looking for interesting people. We are looking for people who, if we ask you, well, what do you love to do? It's not just, I love to sing and dance. We assume you love to sing and dance. That's awesome. I hope you love to sing and dance, or act, or model, or, whatever it is that you're at CMTC for. But what else do you love to do? Do you play sports? Do you bake and want to have your own bakery someday? I don't know. Do you have 15 brothers and sisters? I don't, but it's those other things. It's those things that maybe we aren't seeing on the stage that make us want to talk to you more, want to get to know you more, that show us, the interesting side of you, because you guys, that's what makes a good actor. Is what else is in your life? What can you tap into? What do you know? What can you relate to that you can then bring to a character, whatever it is? So that's what we're looking to see. So don't forget when you're there that people are excited to be meeting you. People are excited to see you. We want to get to know you. Show us you. Show us your personality. This is your time to shine. In theory, you've worked so hard to get there. You're working so hard now on your materials and, on making sure that everything is the best it can be for when you do get there. So by the time you get there, you're excited, we're excited. Don't forget to show us all the things that really make you shine.